Okay, so I figured I want to start by sharing a story with you guys. Well, maybe not a story, but just like my business mentor, some of the best stuff is when he's real with me about the craziness of this all, because I think it's easy with like the highlight reel that we see online, that to think that if we're frenzied or we feel like we don't know what the hell we're doing, that there's something wrong with us or like we're not doing it right. But I think that that's like every business owner. So, at least business owners who want to do well. So right now, if you guys have seen my posts, we have a bunch of things going on. And I know Molly's been working with us on getting the graphics done for a few different things. So she knows exactly the lunacy that's going on. But this morning I had a thought and I was like, wow, this is the business Zoom. I should like do make myself look presentable, right? Like that was a thought that came into my mind. And then I was like, wait a second. I was like, I have like 5 different things launching in the next week or two. You guys know, care a lot about the quality of what's delivered to my clients. So that's still going on. You guys are going to get me in the middle of my rush month. Like I've already made peace with the fact that March is going to be insane. I have that planned and accounted for, right? So while yes, it's a rush month, you guys aren't going to get any less value from me, because the energy that I would put towards cleaning, towards washing my hair, things like that, I don't care, because I know for the month of March, my energy needs to be dedicated elsewhere, and I don't got anyone to impress, right? I want you guys to be able to hop on here however the hell you are and not feel badly doing that. And I feel like if you can see me doing that and see that my businesses are running and things are still happening, and it's not this Instagram glorified, like picture perfect version of that, I feel like that makes it more doable. So just so you know, shit is crazy here, but it's not going to affect what we're doing. I just felt like it was important to share that please don't expect that this is going to be some like wonderfully smooth thing. I mean, we're all just like chickens with our heads cut off, honestly. Like the people who actually are ballsy enough to start businesses are usually chickens with their heads cut off, so to a degree, we're all a little weird. So my opening message for today. I had a couple things planned, a little bit of coaching, a little bit of lesson, but I want to go over one thing that's mindset based, and that is imposter syndrome. And then I want to show you guys Chat GPT. So I'm really, really freaking excited about that. Okay. So first thing, what is this? When it comes to feeling imposter syndrome in your own business, and you guys can tell me in the chat, this one might be easier for me to sort through in chat if you answer. But where do you experience imposter syndrome the most? Like, where does it feel the strongest when you start to think of yourself as a successful business owner? Like successful, in demand, clients consistently, needing to think of like fulfillment, because I know, Cassidy, we've been talking about product, being more product based also, Molly. Where does your imposter syndrome really like knock the wind out of you and make it a bottleneck? Let me know in the chat. What is your biggest imposter syndrome bottleneck in your business? Or thinking of yourself as a successful business owner? Totally vaping on this call if anyone's shocked. Thinking about writing entire books for multiple clients and like, are they going to be good? Yeah. Like, what if my books are shit, right? Now I could sit here and be like, they're not gonna be, like, I don't think you'd ever allow a crappy book with your name on it, but the feeling, I get it. Like, what else? Cassidy and Molly, what do you think? Are you thinking my work is mediocre and why would anybody want to bother with it? Whatever work I post, I look like I'm trying too hard, so I cringe. Like if you're foolish for thinking that your stuff is better than it actually is. I feel like people are just going to look at my stuff and go, really? You think this is good? Yeah, right? Now, and it's interesting, I like it when CCA can intersect with this and the stuff we do in here. And when I tell you, when I'm training a new coach, because staffing is something we'll get to when we cross that bridge, all of you. But staffing has been an interesting journey for me. Mo, I think, was with me during some of the interesting journey. And I came to the realization that I needed to have coaches who were clients. Like, I just needed them to understand at a personal level the method to the madness, because it's hard to explain to a new client how we do things entirely in this program. It really is trusting the process, right? And like week by week. So now training a coach, a completely like stranger to the program, maybe they didn't even see my social media even, they just have the background that would fit. Coming into this, I didn't have a true method to teach them to teach others. I just had what's been in my head for years at that point. So obviously I learned how to not make that happen so I could teach you guys how to staff, but it was a freak out moment. And I remember just for them, the amount of imposter syndrome from the stranger to the former client. Like, the client has a lot more imposter syndrome than somebody who doesn't even know what the hell CCA is. And it's because they care way more. And because they really, really understand what can come from this opportunity, not for them, but for the others that they're going to be working with. So of course, the stakes are going to be so much higher when they have a lot of passion in what they're doing or in the future they want and things like that. No matter what, whether you're coaching, whether you're starting a business, and then especially people like us with all of our past fun stuff, the image issues, the trauma, like all of that. And then we're going to put the scariest thing ever, which is to create something and put it out there and hope that people like it. Every call I have with my coaches still to this day, there's still imposter syndrome's the thing we're working through is like, what if like I think I'm giving good advice and it's not good advice? What if I tell them to do something and they're like, they're triggered, their eating disorder is triggered and I don't mean to, but I didn't, like these are real things, but it's the only reason imposter syndrome happens is because you give a damn. And if you give a damn, the chances are that you're going to try to put out a product that you at least don't feel absolutely humiliated by, right? And if that is the hard part, because anything you make is humiliating to you, then that's a lot deeper. That's probably rooted in other people's perception of you. It's rooted in, childhood, like no one ever praised me, or there's a million things it could be that's way deeper and heavier than just simply, what if it doesn't look good? I think, of course, it could lead to like a bottleneck paralysis. So the tool I'm going to teach you guys today is ChatGPT, because when you're in that place of paralysis because you're thinking, what if it's not good enough? You then go, if you remember, if you don't, there's a good Zoom to catch up on, plan of mediocrity. The plan of mediocrity is the concept that on certain days with certain thresholds, you're going to be doing things, just your bare minimum, like just get it done, get it out there. It's good enough because I covered my bases and my threshold's low. I'm going to rest, take it easy, because it'll allow my threshold to increase and then I can do more at that time. This isn't forever, but why push it now, right? That's especially important when you are neurodivergent or you have chronic health issues and you're a business owner, is because you need to have that, like that balance. No, Mo, you're going to love ChatGPT, the thing I'm going to teach you, because you could talk to it. You don't need like scripts and copy from it. Like you could talk to it like a person, and it's creepy and easy. And so I'm so excited. But anyway, on certain days, if your threshold is lower, you're going to just cover your bases, get through it and be done. And I think that if we're pissed off that it's a lower threshold day, it makes it a lot more difficult to utilize tools that just make it easy, because it's almost like a pride battle at that point where it's like, if I can't do it the absolute best I can at all times, I'm not going to do it at all. At all relatable? Have you guys ever experienced this? I see you over there. You're like, but yeah, it's really difficult. So on your days where you're paralyzed by this, a tool like ChatGPT is exceptional. The other day, let me see, I'm going to try to screen share this and like not look like an 80-year-old trying to do this. Hold on. Oh, wow, here we are. Okay. So the way that you get to ChatGPT and get on here and stuff like that, I'm going to put that in screenshots as just like a resource for you guys. But because it'll take a lot of time and, you know, I don't want to sign out again to have to sign in, but I will put them all in like a savable resource for you in the chat. Okay. Let me just, am I recording? Babe, how do I check if I'm recording the screen share? I would be so mad if I didn't record any of this just now. Does it say we're recording? We are.
Share it.
Okay. All right, cool. Thanks. Sorry. All right. So ChatGPT. Tell me in the chat first, what do you guys know about ChatGPT? And it could be absolutely nothing. Cool. It's going to blow your mind. Okay. And again, I want you to know that as I'm telling you about ChatGPT, it creeps me out. So just know that. We'll see. I'm you know how I am. You know how many times I tried to force people to like, I'm like, no, make the peas the way I made them. I promise it'll be the best peas you've ever had and you'll like them for once in your life. Yeah. You'll love this. ChatGPT is a robot and it essentially takes whatever like info you give it, whatever requests you give it or whatever, it compiles a response. It's like, if anyone's old enough to remember Ask Jeeves, if Ask Jeeves was like a chat, like a chat bot and actually was like a person, it is creepy. And it's like the more, what? You have an aimbot, but it's the more people use it, the more intelligent it gets. So it starts responding in like very human ways. That's where the creepiness factor enters in. So the other day, I'm currently creating a workbook to show you how I created my merch line on all through print on demand, like start to finish. And we were creating the listings for it. And now where I'm great at copy that has to do like is like not product based, like a t-shirt. I'm like, what the hell do I write about a t-shirt? You know, I'm such an expressive human being. I'm like, so it's the only reason I could even get into this is because I'm like, okay, it takes the brevity out of my hands because that's not the part that I'm good at. And I need it to be like 4th grade level. So fantastic. And then I was shocked because not only can you do that for like I did a lot of my listings, I put like, I need a funny t-shirt caption. And like, then you can ask it to kind of like edit what it is that you asked it for, right? But then what I found was I just got saucy with what I was asking it. And I was talking to a client and she was trying to work through her imposter syndrome about like, I really want to work with people. I feel like everyone comes to me, you know, because I'm the good friend that can like, you know, I don't judge them. I give them a safe place to do that. I enjoy that. I love this facet, that facet, the other thing. She's like, but I don't feel like I have anything of value that like, I wouldn't feel bad if people paid for it. So I'm like, let's see if ChatGPT has an answer for this, right? So we came up with, and Katie, when you see the recording, you're gonna be like, oh, but we came up with the term, like if that was a thing, that friend that she was describing, if that was a coach, what would that be called? We're like, oh, a compassion coach, right? So look at what I type into ChatGPT. What would someone hire a compassion coach for? Watch, it doesn't do anything. It's like a dog that always does a trick. And then when there's people around, it doesn't do it. That would suck. Okay, thank you. I don't know why it's probably going slow because it's on screen share and I need to clean this computer. So yeah, it's just it's gonna list off a ton of topics. I think 10, not a ton, but I think usually about 10. And as I was reading this, I was like, is this not valuable? Like, you know, like if somebody does not have access, like if let's say they have the funds, money's not the thing they're lacking any support in their life. Would it just not be worth it? Would you be like, no, I can't take your money. I have nothing to give you, even though that's literally what you're looking for. That's what you want, but I can't give you that. And when I was working with my coaches on their imposter syndrome with all of this, it was a big thing that I was like, like, I didn't even realize this either. It's not about having to teach people something new all the time. You know, a lot of times I was realizing early on that my clients were getting value out of having just something, a call to look forward to each week where they could be themselves and have somebody who's like friendly to talk to. And if that's what that person views as like, that gives them hope and shit in their lives. I mean, that's pretty sad for society, but like, honestly, is that not valuable? Sometimes the most valuable thing is just a judgment-free space to be, to like not feel crazy, to speak your feelings and not need advice or not need anything just besides somebody who's not going to think they're crazy, you know, and that is valuable. So something like this can help with brainstorming a lot. I also put like, you can, if you ask it for post topics, this is the reason I don't like it for copywriting or anything, is because it's very like Yahoo Mail. Like it's like very like headliney and just it's not a person, you know, like you can tell. But when you get into like asking it specific questions, like, okay, let's just see what it's going to give me. All right, so I need, oh, it's going in our chat. I need a short, funny caption about, what shirt do I want to do? About a shirt that says comfy period shirt. Other thing that is particularly cool about this, one caption about a shirt that says, I think I took this, oh, for Etsy. It's inclusive. It uses inclusive terminology. Like I saw it generated something that said uterus owner, and I was like, ChatGPT, you know, like, really? You're progressive. Okay, so finally a shirt that understands my mood swings better than my ex. Like, you know, like it's just ridiculous. Or like, I need a witty, irreverent store listing description. I can't type, I can't spell. All right, drive safe, love you. You know, you got to say it. What if it's the last time? So sorry, guys. Description for, what should I ask it for? What should I ask it? Give me something fun. Give me something random. Or like, let's come up with a really random coach. I like this idea. Okay. Why would someone hire a coach for cooking? So now, not only is this a list to help you start to think like, what could I teach? But if you look at these, are these not potentially each a post idea? You know, like if it's like, okay, I want to think about this for CCA, right? Because I get a lot of people who are really worried, like they feel like they're not good cooks or they hate cooking or something like that, right? So I could look at this and I could be like, all right, well, why would it be important that somebody would hire like a coach that would help them with cooking? Okay, well, learning new cooking skills. Maybe they just literally don't know how to cook, right? I don't like the very generic response for healthier eating habits, but dietary needs, you know, if you have something that's gluten-free or vegan and it feels overwhelming, meal planning, I don't do the meal planning, but like culinary creativity, you know, okay, well, people get bored. That could be a post. You know, so all of this on those days where imposter syndrome is loud and you just need to get content out that's valuable, let's say, or you just need to feel a little bit more inspired or connected to what you're doing, and you don't want to even go through the energy of talking to another human, this is a good tool to just speak it out and just have it be spitting facts back out at you that your brain might not be at a place to think of the million and one different options that could exist at that time. So it becomes kind of a springboard for your own words. Because I'm not gonna lie, like my mentor, while he's great at teaching me things that are of practical use, he's great at teaching me mindset things and resiliency mindset things, right? I have also known him for a very long time, and he is not like, he's a very who you'd expect a health coach to be. Very calorie in, calorie out, very black and white, very, kind of scripted and similar. He has a method that works for him. That's fantastic. He's mostly on Facebook, like great. Not me. He can't figure out Instagram. I've built everything on Instagram. And the reason that I do without having a massive following is because my content is written, like, doesn't have to be written by me, but it's written by a person who understands my method, who understands my message, my feeling, my content, what I want in there. It does, I believe, take a level of human to write something that comes across and is felt as human. So I agree with you, Mo, 100%. I do not like posts from here because he was like, all you got to do is go find an old post of yours that worked out really, really well, and then just put it in here and ask it to make it shorter, or ask it to make it funnier or more serious, and then it'll regenerate it out to you. And what it gave back to me sounded like it should have been on like a pharmaceutical packet. And I was just like, okay, no, like this is it. And this is why it works for him, because his posting is a lot more typical, like Fit Pro, where that's quite literally what I avoid and encourage you guys to avoid doing. Is you really, authenticity is how you get in front of people. It's just the problem with someone who wants to be authentic is that imposter syndrome creeps up. So tools like this reels it back in and gives you some material without a tremendous amount of effort. So, and this is good for batching days too. Like, let's say I don't batch. I've said this before. I'm going to get to the point where I do need to hire somebody to handle all sides of my social media, besides the idea, coming up with the ideas that I really want to hold on to. And at that point, I'll have to batch. But for right now, I have fought back and forth with this. What works for me is to create my content whenever I'm feeling inspired. If I write 1 post, 3 posts, whatever, I embrace the crazy, right? However it comes to me. But if you were in a situation where you don't mind batching, it's not difficult for you to batch. Like my brain just won't if I schedule it in. It just won't happen. So if you can do that and you're like, no, I do great with a structure of having it at this time, whatever, maybe start those sessions off by brainstorming with ChatGPT to just kind of get stuff that comes to you, like light bulbs, and then write those down and go for that, but it's just like an extension of your brain, which is creepy, right? Thoughts on this? Tell me what you guys are thinking. I'm going to go back to the chat. Nothing. I've just seen memes about it, so I'm extra confused. Yeah, no, you know what? I think a lot more of it is like the people who use ChatGPT and talk a lot about ChatGPT. Like, I feel like, why would anybody really advertise ChatGPT? You know what I mean? Like, use whatever tool. I'm not always like, guys, I use Canva. Hey, you like this graphic? It's made on Canva. Canva did it, So it feels like a little bit popularized, but really ultimately at its root, it's just a useful tool. I like wonder all the things you can use it for. Like I had no idea. I actually didn't know what it was. I thought it was like you just ask it to write you stuff, like kids would cheat on their homework or like whatever with it. But I had no idea you could give it prompts, which is really freaking cool. It's different as a writer, I think. I always worry about published work getting stolen because of it. that's why the proprietary nature has to be coming from you, like that. It has to be your thing. Like, for example, you would go buy a ready-made canvas. You could stretch the canvas, you could find the frame, put it together, prime it, and get it all set up before you go and paint and put your own design on it. But I think of ChatGPT in this method where you're utilizing it just for ideas and to just jog, things, because it's also working off of SEO. So it's also pulling from what's the most searched stuff, what's the most asked stuff, the biggest issues that our ideals would be having. Using it that way, I feel like is like buying the canvas and then putting what we put on it. So is it selling out? In a way, to people who are big advocates for stretching your own canvas, and I've met a lot of people that really are like, stretch your own canvas. I get it. For me, I'm like, I'm just gonna go buy that shit at Michael's, but then I'm gonna make it a masterpiece and like unquestionably mine. I understand if that's not comfortable for everybody. I would never impose that, but tell me your thoughts. I'm especially interested as I'm scrolling down to see what you're thinking, because I could totally understand why this would be super cringe. So I was thinking about this when I learned about it. It seems like the AI art generator equivalent of copy. It sucks. Like, it sucks. But I think at the end of the day, I always would rather have somebody draw me something than have it made and generated on a computer program. And I know a lot of people are like that, but I know a lot of people don't give a damn either. Like a lot of people are just like, whatever's cheapest, easiest, and quickest. Like, oh, look how cool this app made this. At face value, people don't even realize necessarily that that's artist's work, or that all the emotion that goes into that. It's kind of just taken off with the times. So I feel like as long as, you just use it in a way that is for your benefit, if you can't get rid of it, at least you're going to use it in a way that'll suit you, I already have to deal with rejected articles possibly being stolen by publications, so stuff like this isn't helping. Also, I know there's like young people who want to be writers who use it to help, but there's also people that want to be writers without doing the work, which I don't like. Totally. I felt that way about cake decorators and YouTube. I paid $60,000 to go to school. I took on an internship where I got hot sheet pans thrown at me, and I had to, peel apples till my hands were bleeding and have them all thrown out in front of me because they were a little bit off, for a tart that they all cooked down anyway, like truly terrible. And then I would, later on, as I was working in the field, I was getting interns that they just learned absolutely everything on YouTube. Now, granted, some of them were good, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, you maybe couldn't afford $60,000. I couldn't afford $60,000, so I get it, but it was annoying. It was super annoying, and it watered down the art of what I was doing. Like, it made it seem like it shouldn't be that expensive, because you can just go on YouTube and learn how to make this Wilton fondant cake and you're good, so I get it. It's nuanced. I think for me, it's like, if something's screwing me and I can't fix it or I can't get rid of it, I find a sick pleasure in using it to my benefit, because it still feels like getting some kind of power back rather than it existing as this predator, so to speak. I forgot the name of this. You told me about it last week. Which one?
The chat.
Oh, ChatGPT. Yeah. I like it as something to talk. I was like bullshitting on it too the other night, and it was giving me hilarious responses. Like, definitely a robot, because it made no sense. But it was like, God, what did I ask it? I have no idea. I'm gonna think of some funny prompts, and when it gives me good responses, I'll put it in the chat. But it's a fun time. And yeah, no, it's terrifying, Cassidy. 100%. 100%. Like, how could you know what I mean? And the specific things you can ask it, what was it? It's going to drive me nuts till I remember it. Okay, I need a list of 5 challenges someone with trauma and PCOS. I don't want to enter trauma into this chat bot right now. We don't need to take it there. Let's do diarrhea. All right, we're going to do diarrhea and PCOS. No one's mad at diarrhea unless they're having it. So let's see what it says. Certainly. Here are 5 challenges that someone with diarrhea and PCOS may experience. Look how specific. And it's also like, it's a means to then go and do further research too. Like if you're having a low threshold day and it's like brain mush and you're like, I don't even know what to think that I want to write. And you have this list of stuff. Maybe you're reading one part like, chronic diarrhea can be stressful and anxiety provoking, particularly if it interferes with daily activities or social engagements. Okay, I want to go look into that further and write a post about that. Like you can dig from little parts of it too, you know. No worries, Molly. I was like, oh, you missed my diarrhea joke, but you would have loved it. I was originally going to ask it someone with trauma and PCOS, something they may experience. I'm like, I don't know that I want ChatGPT's response right now. So let's see. Okay. What struggles could someone with neurodivergency face? I'm not even spelling that right. Neurodivergence. Bam. So difficulty with social communication, you don't say, sensory processing, executive dysfunction. So major content bank, thought jogger, right? Cassidy, I know you have a product. I don't know if we're still doing that original product, but if we were, what's a question you'd want me to ask ChatGPT you think that could help you with posts? If we were using that older product. I want to ask it chicken questions. What do you think we could ask it? Because sometimes people have like, do you guys ever find that you have a harder time even knowing what the hell to ask? Because sometimes like Nick, he's been helping me get these t-shirts going, like I said, and everything. We're doing the print on demand stuff. And he'll like ask me for something and I'm like, I have no idea. Could you Google it? And he'll be like, what do I Google? Like, what do I write though? And Nick's neurodivergent as well. So it's like the two of us. So then we sit there, we just fumble around with words. But I know I've seen this with other clients too, is sometimes it's not out of like laziness. Like, I don't want to go look that up. It's like truly, I feel fuzzy in how I'm going to ask to like, how the hell I look this up, or I get 10,000 results that are just like Beachbody coach ads or something. And it's like, I don't get the results I want. So for this, I feel like no matter how you ask it, also creepy, it kind of figures it out. Like, and if it doesn't, you ask it again, but you add another more specific word in there to narrow it down. And it actually like listens from the prompt last, like you wish a search engine would. So if you're stumped on that, let's say the chicken feeder idea, right? So what are reasons? Oh my God, I can't type. Reasons someone may want a festive chicken feeder. Let's say, what could be funny to watch chickens do in a video? I have to wait till it's done generating. Overall, festive chicken feeder can be fun and practical. I love this so much. So let's say you're like, damn, I want to do a TikTok video, but I feel like as soon as I try to do a TikTok video, I don't know what the hell to do, right? You type in things like that. If funny isn't the right word, you can try it again with a different adjective to see what all other options it would give you. Like you can continue to make this as specific as you want. I did this the other day for 10 minutes and I had like 3 folders full of different topics, post topics, video topics. It was just a brainstorming session, you know? Whereas on another day where my threshold is higher and the imposter syndrome ain't so loud, maybe I would have just come up with some bold out there posts that would have connected with my clients, written it on the spot and posted it. But not every day is like that, you know? So of course, Cassidy, I am happy. I love farm animals so much. I am always happy to include the chickens. I had a client once who, I didn't know goats, like, okay, this is going to sound like a dumb thing, but like goats just birth goats and just carry on. Like they just like it happens and then it's like easy peasy. And then everyone just continues about their merry way. I didn't know that. Neither did my client who has several goats. She would just send me goat update pictures all the time. She knows that I love them so much. And Capricorn, you know, but so she sends me a picture one day of like a little baby goat, like laying on her patio, just covered in like goo. And she's just like, look what happened. And I'm like, what? And she goes, I had no idea one of my goats was pregnant. One of the goats, I don't know which one had the baby. Like, how is that? That's crazy biologically to me. They're like rubber bands and they can eat anything. Like they can eat glass and like siding on your house. Anyway, I'm done with goats. So, and we back. All right. So let's chat out, pun intended, but let's now chat out. When it comes to creating something that purposely, it might not be good, but it's to practice until it's good enough, right? Like you're just trying to get used to creating or getting used to posting or whatever. What is the most paralyzing part of that? And Mo, I know you have done copywriting, you know, like you write posts regularly, so this might not, maybe think back when you first started. But what is the most paralyzing thing when it comes to creating something or writing something, even if it's just a practice? A neurodivergent brain will push off what it's dreading. So what makes it dreadful, even if it's just for you and it doesn't have to be good? Honestly, just starting. When it comes to the starting, is it just that, because there's 2 things. When we put something off, we do it consciously, where we say, I'm going to do this later. I don't want to do this right now, whatever. And then we have the unconscious pushing off, right? Where it's like, I'm going to do that later. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that. And it like lives in this like floating land of possibilities, right? Where it's like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then our brain makes it so that we just kind of never actually do that. Is it conscious or unconscious, you think, pushing it off? You could speak it out if you want now. It's okay.
I got kind of like a little lost with the explanation. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So like consciously is like, I don't want to do that right now. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm doing that later.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like unconsciously, okay. So it's like, oh, good idea. I should do that. And then it's out in the ether.
Yeah.
So it's the same mechanism. It's just like neurodivergent brain will push off what it dreads, you know? So and then you said shushing my inner critic. Do you think that the inner critic is the thing that creates the dread that makes it get pushed off?
That's exactly it.
Yeah. So what does your inner critic say the most?
That whatever I make has to be perfect. So, and I can't like let go of that control, I
Okay.
guess. So then I just wind up not doing anything, to the point where like I'll have the piece in front of me, just the blank thing. And I'm like, okay, just draw a fucking line. And then I do it. And then I'm just like, I can't move more.
Like, what am I even doing? Why am I even doing this? What a waste. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in school, when you had parameters, like you have to have X, Y, and Z included in this piece to get this kind of grade or whatever. Did you feel comfortable having those steps to say, if I check those boxes, then it's good enough? Or did you still hyper criticize it, even though it checked the boxes?
I definitely hyper criticized it, but since I had those parameters, I was able to actually like start, because I felt like I had kind of like a safety net.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would create parameters for yourself. And then when you get to the next bottleneck, analyze that more. So first I would create like, make it like a make pretend assessment or assignment or whatever. Like, I have to draw a picture of pears. I don't know, I just pulled that out of thin air. But then you'd be like, this pear picture has to include more than 5 colors. It has to be realistic, like whatever you want, just pick a couple things and set yourself up to like have boxes to check.
Okay.
And then I think when you get to that point, try re-listening to that inner critic. And if you've checked all the boxes, listen to what the inner critic is saying, because then I think whatever it says after that is like the root of it all.
Okay.
Because if you work with a client, let's say, and you're like, well, not even like, let's say you want to make a blanket, right? You want to design a blanket and you create it and you're like, okay, this, I think it's okay enough. And you're like, it has to have all over print. It has to look clear, can't be blurry. The graphics have to be clean. Whatever it is you come up with, if you can cross all those boxes, like check all those boxes, and you're still like, I don't even know if I want to list it. I don't think anyone would buy it. I don't know. This looks like crap. That's the time to listen to it, because then it's not anything practical.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, I hate that there's backlash against people who say, does that make sense? I love it when other people ask me if that makes sense. And I love asking other people if that makes sense. Have you heard that? It's like the new, probably neurotypical criticism of the way we talk. I will continue asking if that makes sense. But what else, you guys, what do you think is still imposter syndrome, like stopping you from practicing even, or trying to create content or create your product or whatever it is, begin your business? Mo, the Holy Ghost, or Cassidy, tell me in the chat, or you can unmute. Consistency, like always. So what would you consider consistent? Because I think that's similar to what I was saying to Molly, is to create those parameters for yourself, because consistent could be once a week. Consistent could be consistently sitting at your computer at the same time every day. Consistency is going to be so different depending on what you want consistency with. Well,
so I think, well, yeah, like, like I've been doing this for a little while now. So like I've got posting down to like my comfortability of consistency. Like I used to be so stressed about doing it 5 days a week, like every day having like something different and it like being super like worthwhile. So now I just kind of post when I want to, but still consistently for me, I think.
okay.
My consistency issues now are more so like, well, I mean, obviously like the networking is not fun. But then also like with clients that I actually have, I mean, including you. I'm, by the way, I like sent you a chapter, but anyway,
Okay.
I'm like, it's not that I'm like with anyone other than you. I'm not like, oh my God, I'm late. Like I have to catch up on all this shit. Like I'm like giving shit consistently with them, but I feel like I'm doing that thing I always do with my writing, which is like wait until it's making me anxious and then like do it all at once.
So I think a few things it could be. One, I think as long as you're posting like on relatively the same-ish amount per week or the same time per week, as long as it's more than like twice a week, I think is still going to be viewable, still going to be good, still keep your following seeing your posts and stuff like that. I think then the issue becomes we kind of lose passion in the monotony of it. And that also is something that suits or doesn't suit, I guess, our neurodivergency, whereas, we're always trying to get back to that like early excitement, when we're in the thick of doing the same thing over and over again. We're not built consistently. Like we don't thrive on like monotony, but it's the same kind of like, it's a paradox because at the same time that you crave structure and the same every day and the consistency of relying on things happening similarly, it doesn't work with the way we receive dopamine all the time, where we also are like repulsed by like monotony. We might have to do things over and over again, just life, but it's when you've done this for a bit, you've gotten a lot of clients, but you have a lot of days where you don't get a lot of action either. It kind of becomes lackluster to keep doing the stuff, right? So finding excitement in what you're doing or what you're offering is an important part of being a neurodivergent business owner who relies on social media, and that's also where the individuality of our posting comes in. If you see me like randomly, I started posting about Maryland, right? Because I was like, that's what I feel excited about posting. I have done challenges, where I hate using that term, but like group, what do we call it? Workshops, I guess, with everyone in CCA, because it's helped me feel reinvigorated in what I was providing with you guys. I think finding what causes dread in what you do, and then finding what excites you in what you do, and trying to see if you can like meet in the middle. We can do this on a call together if you want. Or next meeting, we can start with that if you remind me, write that down, but because I'll write it down and then lose whatever the hell I'm writing it on. I don't have my phone nearby, but remind me and we can begin with that. Because I think a lot of people would benefit from knowing that very thing, is how to keep it exciting while still getting your stuff done. It can't all be like a free for all, but it can't be mundane either. Even if someone's super confident in their ability to get clients and every facet of business, which is like rare, right? It still would become mundane if that was the case. You'd still hate posting after a while or whatever. So I think figure out if you can make a list of what you dread, make a list of what makes you feel excited. And then we can kind of come up with bridging the gap. And then consistency, create your plan of mediocrity for this, create like whatever is, I can consistently do this bare minimum, knowing that on most days you're going to do more than that, because on those days your threshold will be higher. But at the very least, here are the baby minimums that I can get done on this day. Here's how. I think that'll help balance it out too. So it doesn't have to feel like you always got to give your all, because nobody always gives their all. It's just you burn out, I hope that helped. I know you like it when I give you specific steps, but I feel like that was a little more conceptual. Make a list and then text me, and then I'll read those chapter that you sent. So Cassidy, and we'll finish out with this one. So I sometimes worry nobody cares about what I'm sharing. I hate feeling like I'll look dumb. I think that's super common, super understandable, super common. I'm not gonna lie, I experienced that starting to think of switching, well, not switching, but including business coaching in what I was doing, because I'm so connected to my health clients and towards the health side of things that I do. I felt like no one's like, what am I going to be out here talking about? Like making money as a business owner? Like how cringy, like no one's going to care about that. And they're all just, they're just going to be like, oh God, you're jumping ship, or when the algorithms change and I went from getting like hundreds of likes on something to getting like 60 likes on something. And I've done nothing different. I followed my posting strategy, all of that. It's really easy to feel like, well, what's the point? Like that's just, I thought that was a good post, but it got no attention. So I guess I don't even know if it sucks or not. I think that second guessing is really normal when you're making yourself vulnerable to potentially billions of people. That's who's out there on social media, So when that happens, same thing, create a list of standards for yourself. Like if putting this post up, the only thing it did for me was give me experience of posting something, added something to my feed so it's not empty, and got posted before 10 p.m. If I did that, I'm happy. It doesn't rely at all on how it's received. You can even, for a little bit, if you want to try and just test that out, make your profile private and really choose who gets to see that work or not. If they're obviously going to think it's dumb to see chicken stuff, they're not going to be someone you want on that list. But that's why with under 12K followers, I have more success than accounts that have hundreds of thousands of followers. It's because the few that do interact, the few that see your content stands out to them. They do see you. They're just quiet because everyone's quiet online. They need several exposures to feel comfortable like you're a person to interact with your content. But if you, don't worry about the numbers, the volume of people, and you focus on, would I enjoy seeing this? And what are my standards for posting this? Like, I just want some practice. I want to practice doing it before a certain time. I want to practice posting while on break at work, like whatever it is for you, if that's what you accomplish, then it's a success. And then it'll get easier, but I love watching animal videos and I love like cute things that you wouldn't think of, and I think a lot of people do. So if you enjoy that stuff, post for you for a bit and see, I like that. Post for you and see the difference that makes in your interaction from your followers. Because if you're trying to make content to attract people that are similar, have similar interests, if you like it, they'll like it. And it might take the pressure off of you to make something people would like and just make something you would like. Post for you, absolutely. Oh my God, I can't tell you how many times, like I started out doing, it was PCOS, it was chronic illness in general, just chronic illness. And then I slowly, I was like, okay, because I feel bad excluding people. And then I was like, no, I can post about PCOS and Hashimoto's because that's really like what I'm going to be teaching about in the program, but I'm going to have clients with other ailments. Like I'm not going to turn them away if they relate to my content because it's not the same exact diagnosis. And I definitely felt confused in the beginning, like going and looking at PCOS and Hashimoto's accounts. What are they posting? Look at the thousands of likes they're getting. Why, like I got to make it like that. And it didn't, it's not my style. So it was evident. Also, they were paying professionals to make their stuff. And like, it was just not the same league as apples to oranges, So all it did was make me feel like I didn't know what the hell to post and felt bad about what I did know how to post. But it's the number one thing I hear on applications from people who have been following me for a year, 2 years, whatever, is you talk about things different than anybody talks about it. You talk about topics that other people don't talk about. I like your voice, the way you say these things, or I feel understood, all of that. Honestly, is just because I don't know how the hell to post any different than I would post. It's like autism, but I've learned people dig it, so really post for you and you'll see how engaged your following becomes with you. So I hope this was helpful. I, again, love these. This was so fun for me, at least. But if you have any questions after this, I love talking these out after. I might have a little bit of a lag getting back to you because I'm booked until like 10 tonight after this, but let's talk it out. All right. So enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.